Didn't know it would do that. A little creepy when you consider it's a rosary.
Hey, this is Patrick with Trusty Extra Mercantile. Welcome to my channel and welcome to my booth. I'm currently at the Geneva Antique Market. I'm actually here after hours, so I don't have all of the lights on. But I was here refreshing my booth and putting in some fresh jewelry. Since I got quite a bit, decided to do a little a special price on a bunch of the jewelry for $5 and under, see if that helps move it, and just kind of clean things up a little bit. And while I was here, decided I would do a quick video, at least of part of the store. The parts I turn the lights on for. So I'm gonna show you my booth and show you this half of the store, because where the lights are, and just kind of see what kind of video I can show, just kind of showcase some of the other vendors that are here and the types of good stuff you can get at Geneva Antique Market in a traditional antique mall. Here you go.
So welcome to the antique market. Yeah, I didn't turn the lights on to this section. They're somewhere. I admit I don't work in the store, so I don't know all the details. So I'm going to show you this part of the store because, hey, that's where there are lights. So, hey, look at the checkout counter. When you're here, hopefully it will be lit. But I can start with the showcases that are right here. So this store has been around for about 35 years, and I'm not sure how much it's changed in the past. But one of the things it does a lot of is jewelry, and I was a little slow to hop on that bandwagon. But when I started working with Beth and with Dolores from Miss Damn Jewelry and Carolina Princess Sweet Treats and Pretties, I just started finding jewelry and put it in my booth. And once I started selling jewelry, I actually doubled my rent, or doubled my sales from one month to the next. So, hey, jewelry does well here. The other thing that does well here is LPs, and I'm just not gonna get into that. I don't know enough about music. My extent of my listening is alternative rock from the 90s and Broadway show tunes, and I don't think there's much of a market for either of those. And I'm certainly not going to try and invest in them. So the people that do albums do really well, but that is something I'm going to let others have expert with. You can see there's a lot of showcases. Because we're right next to the checkout counter, these are not locked. And there's kind of a mixed bag. Some are locked, some are not, because these are right near checkout. They're not locked. This one is. Evidently this is a locked case. So some of the maybe more expensive pieces are in here. But again, it's right next to the checkout. So if somebody wants to see in here, you don't really have to flag anybody down. It'd be pretty easy to get in. So a really nice tray of sterling. Since it is locked, I can't really, open it up, but kind of give you an idea of some of what's in here. So you can see some of the prices. So a gold tone necklace with some rhinestone accents, $22. Some sterling rings. I don't see the price tags on any of those. A 1930 sterling bangle for $24. Let's see if any of those are marked. A Coro pin, $28 for the set. That's for the set. So there's earrings somewhere that match it. Kramer for $20. I'm not actually familiar with Kramer. So they're a range of jewelry. There's a booth in the darkness. You can see the booth over there. They do a ton of jewelry, and it's a mix of costume and vintage. This is one of the places that there are rules about how old everything needs to be, but admittedly the jewelry, it's kind of harder to price that or date those. So they seem to be a little bit more lenient on them. But you can kind of see in general, you've got the traditional antique fair, which is what I like and what I like to go shopping for. It's not a lifestyle center, which a couple of the stores I've been in the past, and those are very popular, but then those are trying to develop, you've got furniture and soft furnishings and things to add to vignettes. And if you're not in the store all the time to clean up your vignette, everything gets terrorized and your booth looks awful. So actually Beth is doing a video, I think a live panel, and I hope to catch that. I'm going to talk a little bit about how to stage your booth, and I could probably use some tips. I'm very happy with how I stage things at home, but when I get into my booth, I find a little bit harder time to do so. So just kind of, some cool ephemera, guns, ammunition, lawn tennis, baseball. What is this? Catalog? Yeah, 1903-04 illustrated catalog and price list for the Charles J. Godfrey Company. Love that kind of stuff. Not a lot of ephemera here, admittedly. There's one booth again, back in the darkness, that does a little bit more. It's quite a bit of postcards that read a lot of that. Some Christmas stays out all the time. Some people rotate it in, but this one you can see has some Santa, again, because it's not considered a lifestyle center. Hey, people who stop at an antique shop may want to pick up Christmas anytime. So one of the things when I first moved in, this is something they changed, you see the little footsteps that they made. We're behind, I don't know how to really show this. Here's the checkout counter, partially in the dark. This whole area is behind the checkout counter. And so, you know, they had a sign, more antiques, but there were some, the way some of this was designed, there was some really heavy wood, beautiful, but very heavy dark wood furniture that was all in this little corner here. People would start to enter and then think, oh, that must be the stock room. And they wouldn't actually come back here. So they shifted some things around, opened this up quite a bit. You can see where the aisle originally was. So they kind of opened things up and made this a lot more open along the side. And then I'll come back to these, but I want to show, so I've got the little footsteps. This was like the little dead end aisle that I used to have my showcases where I first started. And the problem with this one was, you can kind of see where the footprint is here of the edge of this booth. There used to be a big case right here that faced, I can't remember if it was a showcase or if it might have been a shelving unit, it might have been both, that faced this way. So when you first were walking this way, because this was had a case that went from floor to ceiling, you didn't see this aisle. So people would, like, if they just kind of peeked, they wouldn't even know that that was there. They'd kind of like peek around, like, I don't really see anything, and they'd leave. And then when you did come here, because this went all the way to the edge, you had this little walkway to come in, and then you ended up in a dead end path. And so I would watch people when I was here. There'd be people that would like poke their heads in here and then say, nope, not going down to the place, the aisle where dreams die, because it looks like a dead end. So in this one, you were a little bit farther away. So the cases, you do have to flag somebody out to open the cases. So I had actually taken the doors off of my case. This was my case here at the end corner. I took the doors off, but again, if you didn't walk down here, you wouldn't know that. So I moved out of this to a different location, but I want to show these cases love because I always felt that this was a harder place to be. And a lot of these have changed. This used to be a lot of toys when I first moved in. I think that person retired. And so we've got a lot of cool industrial stuff, got some fishing, oh, look at all the different knives they've got here. A cool display of Civil War era State Seal Militia officer buttons, 1860 to 1890. That's kind of cool. So some ephemera. What's the big knife? Pacific Islander ceremonial sword. All right, got some cool carving on that. And we've got the Siamese bronze tableware meat cutting set. Some clear glass. Chippendale's playing cards. Can't be more vintage than that. Camel lighters. Gotta love a spittoon to go with your lighters. So just some fun stuff back here. Oh, that's a cool light fixture that they've got there. 48 bucks, nice price on that. And then there are still, I think this is a different person, but there are still some toys in this one. The little wind up rabbit that plays the drum. And then getting you some comic books. We don't have a lot of comic books here, and I don't really know why. They're offering a discount, 20% off. Incredible Hulk, Marvel Science Stories, several of those. Shield, Iron Fist, Iron Man, Hulk, another Iron Man, Strange Tales. I've got even some baseball cards. What are these? Looks like some wood, maybe, let's see, boxed Indian Hindu deity. U of I hats, mix here, pair of shoes. 1985 pony sneakers. Big mix there. Traditional, some china, some glass. More Christmas. Got some of the Christmas ornaments here at the top, and then others that are inside the case. I know the woman that's here, I think she's been here practically from the beginning. I want to say Bobby or Billy, I think Bobby. I've met her a couple of times. Admittedly, I tend to come here after hours because it's only open noon to 5, and I have a day job, so I tend to only be able to come maybe on the weekends, but then I don't want to be here while people are shopping. So I tend to come like now, at night. So I can film in peace without bothering anybody and just kind of showcase some of what is in here. And you can see some stuff at the top. I'm assuming this is the same person as the opposite side of the aisle because that handwriting looks the same. So there's more comics over here, some Christmas. I don't know if they'll like have a suggestion of when people should start decorating for Christmas. Haven't seen a lot of Halloween stuff come out yet, and personally I'm happy about that. I'm somewhat the exception because if you watched my videos in the past, I showcased a haul. This is my space. I showcased a haul where I got a bunch of black glass, and the main reason I was buying it so that I would have something that people could do Halloween, vignettes, or just have black glass available to them. So far, none of it has sold. I think I've got some pretty good prices on it. But again, because I don't have a lot of theme, like I try to put some of the Asian material at the top, I don't really have vignettes. I haven't staged this, quote unquote, particularly well. I've tried to group things together. All my dog items are together. All of my tea items are together. Some decorative, some industrial, but not in a true staging way. So I probably could take some tips on that. I just really need to take a step back because what I'd really like to be able to do is showcase my ephemera a little bit better. Started doing the boarding and bagging. I just need to figure out, I can see the maps are just kind of getting all messed up. My postcard sets, and these postcards always fall, like I've got little separators, but people start shopping and then they just ignore the separators and they're all grouped at the front. I can make that a little bit more attractive. Some of my catalogs and menus are just kind of dumped together in a pile. Some people like digging through piles, some people don't. So it's just one of these cases. I don't know. I need to kind of just take a step back and figure out I've got a lot more space than I did when I was in the showcase, but how can I utilize this space to grab some attention? One thing I gotta do is my light bulb is out on my lamp, so I need to replace that, and I didn't bring one. But I try and do good prices, but again, it's eclectic stuff. And technically I'm sharing this booth. The space is this whole area here. And so I'm actually just renting, kind of almost subletting, the portion of it from Annette, who has the rest of, actually, I don't know if she's got I think she has this case too. But I think she sublets parts of this to other people. Because there's no spaces available. This place is always filled. There's never any vacancies. And so she has, again, a nice mix. And I think it goes well with what I have. I technically stop that little section of the wall is mine. And then the bookcase that starts here is hers. So I think, her stuff and my stuff kind of complement each other pretty nicely. But she's been here for a very long time, and so she's got a mix. And sometimes you can figure out what does the audience like, and then the minute you think you know what the audience likes, they change their minds. So a little bit of a mix, but I do try and pay attention to what other people are doing, so that I can not necessarily follow suit, but when I'm struggling to pay rent, okay, well, like what seems to be selling. And as I mentioned, jewelry, once I started carrying the jewelry, it started making a difference. So what I did for now, I see to do this for at least for a couple of weeks, I just decided, I took all the expensive necklaces that I had, took those out, and replaced them with all necklaces are $5. So, or less. So like some of them, we've got a couple here that are $3 and $4. These simpler ones. But even some of these really heavily beaded ones, multi-strands, I just said, I got these at good prices. I'm just gonna sell them for $5. Some had been more and I marked them down. Like this necklace, I originally had it $10, marked it down to $5. Others I just put out here for the very first time tonight. And we'll just see how they go. And then I kind of did my own little cheat sheet. Every one of these hooks and the stand that I created, every single one has 2 items hanging from it. So when I come back, I can see at a glance how many have actually sold. And if you followed my channel for a while, you also know in one of my hauls of jewelry, I got a ton of clip-on earrings. And so this is actually done really well. I set these in here for $4 a set or 3 sets for $10. I've sold several of the $10 sets. So I originally just kind of put, I don't know, 20 or 30 pair in there. They started selling, so I started refreshing and put more because I had tons. And, you know, I didn't know what people would want clip-on earrings for, but either they're using them to wear, or as Beth said, they might be using them for crafting lots or to make other pieces of jewelry. And there are some pretty cool pieces in here. So, hey, I'm happy to pass that on and give people a good deal if it's something that they like. Some of the more expensive brooches are in here, not all expensive, but I'm still a little hesitant that things will get feet and walk away. You can see, but some of the pins are only $6, but they're really small. So I tried to put them in here so you can see the price tag. So if you don't, you know, if you're interested, but you're not sure, you'll see what they are. You don't have to ask somebody to open it. You know, some of the more delicate pieces like that German porcelain tally brush, I just don't want that to be handled because the tally is original, tally card is original. I don't want that to get torn. I don't want her bristles to break off, and I don't want her to get damaged because she's in perfect condition for something from the 30s. Then the same thing with the cake topper. Like I got this military cake topper. I think it's from the 50s. It's beautiful and great condition. I don't want to see anything happen to it. So a couple of these things, it might hurt because they're in a showcase, but I'd rather protect them. Same thing with like those little 3-dimensional flowers. These are not expensive pieces. I think I've got like $3, $4, $5 on them. But if they were sitting out, people knock them over, you know, not purposely, they just don't care. Those flowers are gonna get chipped. So I'm gonna try and keep them in. And I've actually sold a couple of the pieces that match those. So it works. People do ask to open the cases. Some of the stuff, it will go in here for a while. And I'm at the point now, if it doesn't sell, like some of these things I've had for a while, if they don't sell, they're just gonna go straight to Goodwill. I've already taken a couple of bags to Goodwill. And it's just, again, figuring out what people like. Because like personally, those are both 19th century pieces. I absolutely love them, but they're not everyone's aesthetic. So, you know, it's like I could mark them down, but to a certain extent, I don't know, we'll see. Again, put some Asian stuff in there. All of these were from the last haul. I've got these framed pieces of magazine covers and things like that. Not something I would normally sell, but it is 1997, so it matches the rules for the shop. And you know what? Maybe somebody wants it. I only put $5 on it. See if somebody wants it. $2 for the, you know, the die cut, the big wooden checkers board. So again, just a mix. That's actually those I got from Vintage Vinny probably 3 years ago. He sold those in one of his live sales, and I had all these grain plans to put that in a project, and I never used them. So porcelain hardware, probably for less than I paid for it when you consider the shipping. But see if I can get them to go to a good home. So that's my booth. I skipped over these when I walked down the aisle, so come back. Some nice textiles. Don't have a lot of vintage clothing in the shop, so it's kind of nice, and I like that I'm right opposite that because that goes really nicely with the jewelry. And they also have a lot of glass, porcelain. They got the exact kind of stuff that I like to see when I go hunting in an antique shop. More textiles. I got a lot of kitchen stuff, clear glass. This case is not locked, so it's kind of like on the end. So it's like trying to make the most of the space. This is also open. So it's, you know, it's again, you have to decide, do you want to lock your cases and maybe cut down on people that are going to buy, or leave them open and hope things don't walk away. But, you know, a lot of jewelry here as well. You know, prices hopefully comparable to what I'm doing. You can come in here and say, oh, look at all of the jewelry that's available. Quite a bit of jewelry in this booth here. And that's why when I set up mine, I wanted to use that wall to showcase the jewelry. So I put them on the opposite side. People may not go that far, but if they're seeing all of this jewelry, they'll see mine right behind it. So she also has a locked case, and we are right behind the checkout area again. So bracelets, a lot of stuff that's out, you know, some great brooches that, again, like my inner pessimist is like, oh, these are all going to walk away. But this booth has also been here for ages, and they, you know, obviously if they have any theft, it's minimal enough that they're not concerned about it. And then they do have some locked up in a case like this set of the sterling. Check out all those cameos. Those are some fantastic cameos. Faceted red glass, those are gorgeous. Yeah, so some great fall color pieces there at the bottom. So at some point, I will do a video of the rest of the store. So I feel kind of bad that I don't showcase everybody. But this is the smaller part of the store. The other part is a lot bigger. And so I just have to make sure all the lights get turned on, and it'll take me quite a bit longer to go through the rest of it. So for now, I will cut off the video and let you go. Forgot to show you one of my favorite parts of the store. They put their uranium glass and Vaseline glass under blacklight. Cool. So again, thank you for joining me for my little quick tour of the Geneva Antique Market. It is in downtown Geneva off of 3rd Street, if you're ever in the far western suburbs of Chicago. There are a ton of antique locations. A couple people that used to be here opened up their own shops that are along 3rd Street. It's a great walking area. Some cute food stores, gift shops, clothing stores. There's a whole mixed bag. The Geneva Historical Society's here. Some great architecture is nearby. There's a Frank Lloyd Wright home that's within walking distance in this area. Just it's a great little place to have an antique shop. And again, it's been here for 35 years. So if you haven't made it out to the western suburbs, stop by the booth and hey, let me know if you're going to be visiting. I can meet you up here. So thanks so much for joining my video. Hope you enjoyed it. Appreciate any comments in the chat about what you liked, what you'd like to see more of. But most of all, thanks for watching the video. Thanks for putting your trust in Trusty Huckster. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.
Well, if you got $1 on just a lousy down, know that I got rhythm that could suit your budget fine.